And welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Thoughts at the Round Table.
33, lucky number. My name is Paul Laux.
And I'm Matt Rebar.
Ooh, switch it up that time.
I know. Hey, you know what? Expect the unexpected on this show.
All right, so...
Look how you were like, okay.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Like, yeah, that sounds good. Put that as the tagline.
Yeah, that sounds good as the tagline.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Sorry, I just saw this come across my phone.
You sassy.
I have.
Is it time for Not the News with Paul Laux?
It is. It really is.
Let's do it.
All right. Do you ever want a raccoon?
Okay, someone tweeted about this on my timeline today. I forget who, but they were like, "Can I get a raccoon as a pet?" And
it was our friend Jen.
Okay, that's who it was.
But this is a story going around where this girl keeps finding this raccoon break into her house and sleeping in her bed.
Oh,
a little raccoon.
It's kind of cute.
I like how they
scary.
have little hands.
Oh yeah, they do have hands.
I used to leave cat food outside on my deck to feed, because there's a lot of strays around here, until I looked out one night and it was literally just, I saw a raccoon just palming a whole handful. So I'm like, I'm not just feeding this fat ass raccoon.
Like, suddenly I'm feeding all the wildlife in the backyard.
I mean, the story's pretty minimal. This girl keeps waking up with a raccoon in her bed, but would you ever have a raccoon?
I can't say that I'll never have a raccoon. I just can say that, like, it's not on my to-do list. But I guess I'm trying to think of all the animals that would, like, break into my house and that I would find, like, cuddled up with me in the morning. Raccoons kind of scary.
I don't like...
They get a little vicious.
They got rabies.
Well, a lot of things do. But, like, if a cute little river otter climbed into my bed.
Otters are mean.
Well, true, but they're kind of cute.
They're adorable, but
yeah.
I actually know
something. Or like a seal pup. What if a seal pup climbed into your bed?
Yeah, that's good.
I'd keep that
or
seal pup forever.
Or a beluga whale in your pool.
Well, suddenly we went from, like, not going to happen to, like, really not going to happen.
I actually knew someone who owned a deer.
A deer?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Well, what happened was he had a lot of land.
Yeah.
And a few acres, and had a huge, like...
plant overgrowth?
Like a garden. And like a quarter-acre garden with a big fence around it.
Yeah.
And it had kind of died off because he was kind of done maintaining it because it was a lot of work. And one day he found this deer that had, like, a broken leg in his backyard. And he, like, I don't know, but he mended up the deer and, like, put her in this caged garden, so she could, like, nothing would, like, attack her, because you're, broken leg at that point, you're kind of a sitting duck. And so he, it healed everything, and he let it out, and it wouldn't leave. This deer would not leave. That's really
cute, though.
And so he kept it in there, and he'd walk in there. I remember we'd go in there and feed it and stuff.
Like, was she, like, caged in there, or just that was where she, like, lived?
She was kind of caged in there, but the cage was always open.
I was gonna say,
she just push the door open if she wanted.
Yeah.
And we'd leave it open. She didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Like,
That's really, it's actually really cute. I like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking of all the different animals that could crawl into my bed, and I think I wouldn't be free. Oh my god, a possum crawled into the bed. Oh god, now that would be freaky.
What about a snake? Like a cute little snake.
A cute little snake, like Taylor Swift crawls into the bed.
A little corn snake.
I don't know about that. That's
corn snakes are cute, man. They don't even have teeth.
Well, they're still a snake. Not a fan. Like a frog.
Would you ever have a boa?
No, because I remember reading this one story where the one guy was talking about, like, my boa keeps doing this and this and this, and people were like, dude, your boa's trying to eat you.
Well, you gotta feed the thing.
Well, like, I mean, I don't know. I just know that they were like,
my boa's giving me a hug.
Boa, yeah, my boa keeps, like, just wrapping itself like this. And everyone's like, that's a sign that they're sizing you up. Like, oh god. I just think I'm so busy that I don't have time to raise any sort of life.
I can barely raise myself.
Well, you can barely raise your kid.
That's true.
I can barely raise my succulent. That's how bad it is. My succulent
You're less nurturing than a desert.
Well, I'm very nurturing as a person. I'm just always on the go. That's my problem. I always say I'm just go, 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 go. Anyway, raccoon as a pet, not my favorite idea.
Also, this is a nice, not the news story that came up last week. Obviously, divorces can be very
difficult.
No, you know. So this one guy decided that he asked the judge if they could divvy up their stuff with a trial by combat.
Oh my god! What did the judge say?
No.
Okay. Can you imagine, like, the one judge who's, like, really bored of his job? Like, maybe.
There's this one famous picture that I love, and it's the most 90s thing in the world, and it was in the 90s, where there was a couple that was getting divorced.
Yeah.
And they had to split up their Beanie Baby collection under court supervision. So they're, like, in this courtroom, and there's this judge sitting out, and then they're dividing up their Beanie Baby collection.
I don't know if I'll ever have a divorce, but if I do...
You gotta get married first.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. if I do have a divorce, I just imagine, like, for me, it's just as simple as, like, this was mine, this was yours. Like, easy.
Well, also, it depends on why you're getting divorced. If you're the one who effed up and cheated, you kind of got to take the L on that one. I'm like, I want this and this. It's like, what are you going to say?
I agree. I mean, in some ways I agree, but in other ways I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh, I saw this great article.
I'm not that vindictive.
This great article from Forbes. Bezos' wife. What's her name again? I forgot.
Oh, not Amanda. Julie.
Something.
Mrs. X Bezos.
It was about how she's now the richest woman on the planet with a net worth of $57 billion. Gosh. But her source of income was listed as divorce.
But the thing that's so funny is people don't realize she was she's half the reason
she was
that
with
company.
him from the beginning.
Oh yeah,
like, no
she
joke.
was helping him with that company when it was in the garage.
You know, the whole thing. Obviously, he had an affair and everything, and that's it's terrible.
Yeah.
But part of me kind of
it's Mackenzie.
Part of me does kind of give Jeff Bezos respect for the fact that he literally never fought. He goes, I effed up. Here's $50 billion.
Well, because I think he also realizes that she was key into where that company is today. Mm-hmm. Without her support and without her,
it wouldn't be there.
I think she was helping with the marketing of it. Like
she did.
It was like she put in a lot of time. Like she's the
owner
of the company for a reason.
People don't realize how hard she worked in that company.
People are like, oh, she just has all the money because she got divorced.
No,
like,
she's there from the
she deserves.
I
mean, not that she deserves $57 billion, because like I don't think anyone deserves billions and billions.
But she deserves that money.
But she deserves money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue, oh yeah, she deserves every $57 billion.
Sometimes I read about the worst corporate mistakes ever made. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorites is that Apple refused to hire Bill Gates.
Really? Yes. That's kind of funny.
There was also another investor in Apple who sold all of his shares. He basically said, this ain't going nowhere, and sold all of his shares for $600, and today would be worth like $3.4 billion.
Wow.
He'd be literally a billionaire, but he sold off his shares for $600.
That's insane.
But yeah, there was a story about how Bill Gates wanted to work for Apple really badly, and they didn't like him, and so Apple wouldn't hire him, and so as an FU, he started Microsoft.
But like, let's be real. What's better? I mean, with my iPhone and my Macintosh.
Microsoft. Well, they have their own things. Apple's much better with phones. Microsoft's much better with PCs.
Yeah, true.
I want to like Macs. I can't do it though.
See, they're just so like you know what it is? The aesthetics. I love the aesthetics.
It's great and everything, but
it just looks pretty.
I'm not gonna. You get so much less. This is like a $2,000 laptop, which I can get for like $700 from a PC.
That's true.
And you got to have all these adapters.
That's true.
Come on, Apple.
You're true.
Come on, Apple.
You're saying some good things, but this happened forever ago. But I think it's kind of funny. Did you see Apple is settling out like I think $500 million?
Yeah, because they slowed their old phones.
But here's where
Microsoft I think did the same thing.
Here's where I'm kind of like in the middle. Their claim is, well, we slow the phones down because of the updates would stress the battery. Which makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it doesn't make sense, but it's like you gotta tell people you're doing that. I think to like go and not talk about that, that's the shifty part.
I mean, generally your phones are gonna get slower.
Yeah.
But we all know what they're doing, and I love how they got fined $500 million.
I think it's $500 million.
Come on, that's like say, hey Matt, can you give me a quarter?
Hey man, do you have a buck?
I was reading something about how Apple has I could be probably off this number, but it was like $3.7 billion cash on hand. Like they literally just have like most businesses are worth that, but they don't have the cash on hand. They literally have an account with almost $4 billion just in it. They just have that money. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
And like I'll continue. Like I'm having an iPhone 8. It's doing really well.
I just got one of those.
Oh, an 8? Are you on an 8 or?
Yeah,
I
just got an 8.
Okay.
Because I'm always 2 models behind.
Well, and I just saw, I don't know, the new Gaga video is filmed on an iPhone like 11, and I'm like, oh, it looks so well. Like, look at the video and the photo quality.
But then it looks like it's filmed with potato. Like, so I don't know how they do it. Yeah, I've seen that.
Well, you know why? It's because they use professional rigs. They're just using the iPhone.
It's all about the rigs.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, we'll use the iPhone, but we're gonna have like the professional everything else. So it is shot on iPhone, but it's like. But
there's always.
And you also have to be a professional editor, like you're not just nobody's like.
You can
a
make
professional
anything.
Editor.
It's like websites with for realty. Mm-hmm. Like they can take the best pictures in the world. They go into the house and it's like a tent that's fallen over. Like doesn't matter.
Any more not the news, my dude?
No, let's move on to some advice.
Well, I got a really juicy one. I don't think you're going to be ready for this one, Paul. Dear Abby, my best friend can't suppress his crush on me. A gay woman. Oh.
There you go.
I'm a gay woman. My male best friend has had a crush on me for more than a year. It is so intense that he is almost delusional. We have talked extensively about it. He knows where I stand and that it will never happen, and he says he accepts that, but he can't stand the thought of me spending time with a woman, even if it's just a friend. Oof. He wants all of my time. He doesn't want to share me, even with mutual friends. Oof. Here's the kicker. I had invited him to move back to my college town with me. We both thought that moving to a big city would open up a lot more potential dating opportunities for us and help him get over me. It was an ordeal for him, but he put in a ton of work to be able to move. We planned to be housemates. This happened during a time when we thought he was feeling more resolved about our relationship. We have been staying with my relative while we search for a house in the big city, so we are trapped in the same space, and he has nowhere else to go. Since moving in together, his feelings for me have resurged. I no longer want to be roommates because of his possessiveness, but it would devastate him if I left him alone here, especially since it was my idea to go, and I was meant to be his support system. I feel like I'm trapped in his drama and cannot live my life without ruining his life. Please help! Trapped lesbian in the West. Ooh. So here's what she says. Do not rent an apartment with him or buy a house. To do so would be an expensive mistake. You cannot fulfill his needs. And if you allow this to continue, he will destroy every opportunity that comes your way because it will be a threat to his fantasy. You need to find other living arrangements, and you and your relative should insist upon it. This is not going to have a fairy tale ending, and you probably will not remain friends as you both move along in life. But move along is what you must do for both of your sakes. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously nothing is her fault. I mean, she said how many times that this guy's just... I don't know how else to say it other than kind of creepy, to be totally honest.
I get where she's coming from because I think I'd feel the same way. This was my idea to move out here. I'm supposed to be his support system. But, like, it's kind of like the giving tree metaphor. At what point to your own demise?
Right. Sometimes you can only help people so much. Yeah, exactly. And she's obviously cares about him and has tried a lot to help him, but it's just not working out. And a lot of things that are going wrong are things that are out of her control that she shouldn't be upset about.
I think she just needs to... I think if I was in her position, I would sit down and be like, you know what? I think I'm just going to get a one-room apartment by myself, and I think you should do the same, and here's why. I think that, I respect and I love you as a friend, but living together here...
Plus, that's another way to help him, too. You got to force the hand. I would feel 100% different if she let him on, but that's not the situation.
Do you think this friendship is solvable? Like, is this going to... Like, are they going to be friends down the line? You think?
Yeah, I think everybody can... I don't see this as something that's unmanageable in some way eventually. You might have to take a break with things for a little while, but I don't see it as an end game. I never see anything as like an end game unless it's seriously drastic. I'm just curious,
with her mindset of like, I think this goes to attest that she's a good person because this guy has a crush on her and she's like, no, but like cares about him enough as a friend to be willing to continue to like, we're going to move together. We're still best friends.
That's a good person.
That is a good person.
Also, you're not leaving them in, Okoboji, Iowa.
Yeah.
You're leaving them in at least a populated place where they have definitely many opportunities for themselves.
It just sucks because it's like, for her own sake, should she have cut this out a while back? Like, this friend seems, I don't know.
What is it,
Like, as soon as she knew that he had a crush on her...
Hindsight's 20/20.
I guess they could have talked it out as best friends.
They did, though.
And they did. But, like, the fact that it kind of is, like, still once again, like, resurging and it's problematic and, like, the possessiveness, like, how long do you continue to let that go just as a friend in your life? Let alone, like, the roommate element.
Depends on how much you care for the person, what your history with the person is. I mean, there's some people who would like, you know them for a year, they go bazooka, it's like, whatever, out of here. But if you've known them for how long?
I'm just trying to think of like friends who, I don't think it's not really happened, but like people in my life who I'm like, I'm like, we're friends. Like, stop trying to make it more. And like, for me, it was just as easy as just like cutting them out. Granted, I've never had like a best friend be like all out of nowhere, like, I love you,
I've never had that happen either.
And I'm not, like, opposed to that happening in the right circumstances, but, like, clearly this is not the right... This is, like, trying to put a square in a triangle peg.
She's putting a lot of stuff on herself that she can't control, and that's unfair to her, too, because it is unfair to her, too.
But another thing, too, to think about is she was like, I invited him... she knew that these problems were happening, but she still was like, come move to the big city with me, though? Like, that... I'm not saying, like...
If there's anything that she made a mistake on, maybe it was that.
Yeah, like... Maybe
but it's not even
point,
that big of a mistake.
No, I agree. I mean, the burden kind of falls on him, I think.
Right.
He needs to get over it. He needs to, like, whatever fantasy or delusion he's living. But, like, at the same time, like, do you think that by being, like, moved to the big city with me, that kind of, like, kickstarted his delusion a little bit?
It could have. I bet it didn't help.
It's different if it was like, hey, we live in Akron, let's move to Cleveland.
Right.
But like, let's just say, yeah, they were in Wyoming, and now they moved out to Seattle or Portland or wherever the West is. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure from her standpoint, she's like, this is my best friend. I think we both need this move. Absolutely. But from his standpoint, he's like, oh, she wants me to move to the big city with her.
Yeah, the only thing she should have known is with his stability that maybe that was not the best idea.
Ooh, there's so many questions here, and I love that. Well, anything else we should say or do? Or
I don't think so right now. What do you think about anything going on?
Well, the movie's out now, so definitely check it out on YouTube and Amazon. It's called Old Friends, and you can, if you just go to my Instagram or my Twitter, it's Reebstar, HRIBSTAR, so you can view it there.
Do you have a goal in your mind of how many views you want to get? Can you see how many views?
It'll be like 10, probably.
8
Actually,
from you.
I just lied. We're recording this. It won't be out yet.
It'll be out.
It'll be out this Friday. I can't count. I was like 1, 2. It's like, oh yeah, it'll be out. No, it'll be out this Friday. So.
And by the way, back on Instagram, PaulLux22.
Oh my god.
LAUX.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll talk more about it next time. But we have an updated social media, website, all that shenanigans that we're trying to be official with. So next time we'll talk about
New Year's resolution time.
Exactly. We'll talk about all those cool features next time. And the movie will officially be out next time.
Okay.
And Paul might be able to watch it. He can pull up, have baby girl in the swing, and pull it up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Well, until then, peace out.
Later.